You don't need another strategy. Here's what you actually need to figure out why you can't implement the things that you already know. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storm, former psychologist, now business coach, and I help women just like us to build profitable private practices, usually in under 12 months. Being neurodivergent means I see the patterns that other coaches miss, but it also means I'm a truth teller, so I'm not interested in giving you any business advice that sounds good or might be trending, but doesn't actually work for us. Welcome to the Practice Momentum podcast, where we're going to get your private practice sorted out. Thanks so much for being here, and let's get on with the next episode. Hey there, and welcome back to the podcast. So pleased to have you here. Of course, happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a fantastic week. Today, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's episode 4 in our little mini series here of how to get clients without being on social media. And today we're going to talk about an email that I received yesterday, and hopefully this is going to be super duper helpful. Okay, so what it was, I was just there getting ready to log off. One of my little rituals that I have at the end of the day. I really love doing this actually. It's like decluttering the Tupperware cupboard, but it's your inbox. And I really love to go and just unsubscribe from all the spam or junk mail that's come through at the end of the day, and I do my very best to finish the day on inbox 0. It just gives me like a happy feeling. If you know, you know. It took me ages to get there, by the way. I heard somebody else talking about inbox 0, and I got so inspired, and I checked my inbox. I was like, oh, that'll never happen. I've got so many. But you know what? I just got rid of a whole lot. Day by day by day. That was probably about 18 months ago, and I tell you what, I have not looked back. So good. Anywho, there was an email there, clicked on it, opened it, and it was from really lovely email to read. I was going to say really lovely lady. I'm sure she is really lovely, but I can't really say that because I've never met her. But it was just sort of saying, hey, just want to draw your attention to the fact that I've sent you a couple of emails, haven't heard back from you, but you know, if you're not into it, that's totally fine. I'll leave you alone. But in case you missed them, my name is so-and-so, and I'm from this magazine, and I would really love it if you would, have a conversation with me about either being a guest contributor or maybe even being a regular contributor. It is paid. And then she said the name of the magazine, and she gave me some information so I could go and have a look. And she said some of our other contributors and things like that have been people like Gary V and Melissa Peers, and who else? Jay Chetty, stuff like that. I think she said Mel Robbins. So anyway, I was like curious, and I didn't honestly remember ever seeing any of these other 2 emails, because I tell you what, it's a kind of email that makes you sit up and pay attention, right? Anyway, I found them in my spam, which is not at 0. I always think to myself, I should go into my spam folder and just go, I use a Mac, so everything is Control A. I think if I was on Windows, it'd be Command A or something, and then just hitting delete. But I get so worried about doing that because I do get stuff that is from like legit people that I want to hear from that just ends up in my spam folder sometimes. So I don't know. Anyway, and it just seems too big to go and like manually clean out and sort through the stuff. But anyway, I did a quick search. Up comes these other 2 emails, and sure as eggs, there they are. Then I went and had a look at the website, and I got very excited. It's a well-known publication, and I was kind of like doing a bit of a happy dance on the inside. And then my higher self was like, whoa, hang on. This is not our first time at this rodeo. Okay, so I'm just going to like jump in the DeLorean and let's go back to mid-90s, late 90s. Yeah, for a long time, how did it all start? I think in the beginning, I was just kind of thinking it would be a good thing to do to raise your profile, right? And anyway, I started doing like guest appearances on things like, local radio and stuff like that. And I thought that I was, pretty good, right? I was so smug. I just thought I was the biscuit because I was getting interviewed on local radio, and I was contributing to like local newspaper columns and magazines and stuff like that. Anywho, then let it go for a while, and I just thought it was what you do when you want to raise your profile. So I just kind of did it just randomly, ad hoc, here and there when I first started my practice. And then later on, I just, for some reason, I just got serious about it. And I just thought, this is something that I want to reintroduce, and I want to really commit to it. I'm going to go all in. And anyway, I was approached by a magazine, and I thought, why not? And so I wrote columns for a couple of magazines for years. One of the magazines was on alternative things like, I was going to say mindfulness. That's not alternative, but it was on things like, I just maybe not so peer-reviewed journal. It was more magazine for things like, I don't know, kinesiology, Reiki, the energy stuff, mind, body, spirit, or all of that, right? So I was writing monthly columns for that magazine. Then I was writing monthly columns for another magazine. And, I was proud to be able to contribute. It felt nice to be able to, I saw it as helping out. So that felt really, really good. But over time, I started to resent it because it was taking time and there was pressure, like always coming up with new ideas and new angles and new stuff, right? Being careful and mindful about what I was writing and how I was writing it because of my position. Like as a psychologist, you've got to be thoughtful and mindful about what you write. Well, you do in any profession, I know. But anyway, back then I was a psychologist and I was scared of my own shadow, right? So anyway, it took a long time for me to actually generate content and put it out. And from time to time, my editors were like, hey, heads up, this was due like yesterday or 2 days ago. And then that made me feel worse. And then anyway, I just got to the point where I was starting to, resent the time it was taking and maybe not love it so much. And anyway, eventually I was just like, I'm going to need to stop doing it. And I just stopped. And do you know what? For that whole time, it never occurred to me once to ask anybody if they connected with me as a result of any of that I was doing, right? I just kind of figured that because I was doing it and, these were big publications, that it was giving me some kind of visibility, some kind of spotlight. I will never know because I never tracked. And that's probably a big part of also what led to the resentment. So anyway, although I was very excited to get this opportunity, I was brought back down to earth pretty quickly by my flashbacks of the past. And I thought that was really, really important to share. And I think it shows my naivety as well, right? Like I was just so excited back in the day, like to even have the opportunity to, be on radio regularly and do all these things. I just thought that I was so lucky to be picked, and I wanted to do a good job and all of that. But anyway, no idea what I was doing in terms of the business side of things. So looking at this current opportunity, my initial instinct was, oh my gosh, like I had imposter syndrome. Like I'm not like any of those people. Why are they asking me? There was that. It was like, oh my gosh, this is going to really require me to level up my content now. Am I capable? Like, can I do it? Like, I don't know. So it was a lot of self-doubt and questioning, things like that going on. And then anyway, I just told myself, pause, think about it, reflect. And so anyway, some of the other things that were on my mind I thought might be helpful to share with you. And I think I've just like loosely put them into two areas, two categories, two sections, if you like. It's like me and the opportunity. So when it comes to me, I guess I want to think about a few things. I want to think about it in terms of business, but also myself. And at the moment, like this only happened yesterday. So yes, I'm still processing. But anyway, this is where I'm at right now. And it very well may change. But anyway, what I'm thinking about is, what are my values? So what are the values that I've got for my business? And so I'm connecting back in with that. And I really want to help women who are counselors, psychologists, and social workers become better at business. Does this opportunity support that value? Yes. What's my mission? My mission is to help women who are therapists become business owners by going beyond here's the strategy and helping them see themselves as business owners, because I really firmly 110% believe that identity is such a key factor for women, and that is why I ended up formalizing my approach to business coaching for women who are counselors, psychologists, and social workers. And it's wound up being identified now, recognized now as the first and only private practice business coaching program specifically for my people. So does it fit with that? Yes, it does. Does it go beyond that? Absolutely. So there will be other people definitely reading this magazine from other industries, of course. So maybe, I don't know, retail, IT, stuff, whatever. There will definitely be people from other industries, but they're going to be people who are, I guess, sharing my interests around entrepreneurship, which I see all women who are counselors, psychologists, and social workers in private practice as entrepreneurs. By the way, I never saw myself as that. I always just thought I was a practice owner. But I see now it's more than that. I see myself as an entrepreneur. I see the women that I work with as entrepreneurs. So it fits with all of that, and it can broaden my audience. So, my philosophy is when you're just starting out and you need to fill your diary, the easiest way is to be specific. And then what tends to happen, it's like an inverted triangle, all right? You start at the bottom of that triangle being so specific, you start to build your diary and your reputation, and you get known for being the go-to person. And then over time, people start to approach you. So for me, it might be men from time to time, and they'll say, oh, I know that you work with women, but would you consider? Of course, I'm going to say yes. So now my little scope, my little triangle is starting to open out. And then, I've got not only allied medical health, but I've got medical health practitioners that work in Practice Momentum and in Ascend. So by that, I mean there's a couple of GPs, there's a psychiatrist. I've also got like physio. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, they're not counsellors, psychologists, or social workers, but because they know what I do and how I help, do you see, like now I can start to widen it up and open it up. So I think this opportunity here would probably fit with that. And I'm open to it. Like the more that I get to work with people who are, I guess, in different professions to counselling, psychology, and social work, the more I'm seeing that my framework is applicable to different professions, right? So of course this opportunity fits on that level. Does it fit with my values personally? Well, I need to investigate more. And by that, I mean, I need to reconnect with what's important to me at the moment. And my big driver right now is spaciousness and revenue. My business is in like a very big growth phase at the moment, and I want to keep that going because, I've got a lot more financial responsibility than I used to have. I mentioned it before, but, I, financially support an aging parent, medical expenses, the things, right? So would it help with the value of having spaciousness, having energy capacity, not burning out, like all those kinds of things, and building revenue? Not sure. I guess I can ask. And then I want to think about from a business perspective too, like what impact would accepting this opportunity, if I do, potentially have on my business? Is it going to help or hinder? Is it going to help my business be found more? Is it going to help with visibility? So I want to know, are there going to be things like backlinks from their website to mine? Are they going to be making recommendations? Am I getting included in something? Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to know all of those things. I want to hear like how it's benefited maybe other people who are, guest contributing or, regular contributors. And I want to know how my clients are going to benefit from that. So is it that my clients are going to benefit because, I don't know, maybe if they want to get the magazine, will they get a discount to subscribe? Or will my clients benefit because of, wow, my business coach writes for this magazine? Like, does that benefit my client in terms of them feeling like, I don't know the right word. I don't want to say the wrong word, but I feel like, maybe I'm going to say the wrong word, but I'm going to trust you know what I mean. But I want my clients to feel even more proud of the fact that we're working together. Like, I want them to be like, yeah, that's my coach. And would this magazine benefit my client like that, and in turn benefit their business? That is important to me. So that's definitely something that I need to think about. Like, how would my involvement with this indirectly impact my clients? Yeah, I want to look at also, I guess, in terms of my own business with marketing. Would this help me with my own audience building? And if so, how? So I don't see anywhere in this magazine where people are doing, overt lead gen. So is it that my audience just builds naturally and organically because people start to Google my business after they start having a look at the magazine? I'm not sure. So that's something I want to have a chat about as well. The other thing is, how will I know if me being involved with this publication is benefiting my business? What are the metrics I need to be tracking? How will I track them? Where will I get them from? All those kinds of things. So I need to think about that and what I want that to look like. Yeah, so I've just, how will I test and measure that? Because tracking is everything, I tell you. It really is. And then the other thing too is I want to think about like, what's the time investment? Because again, one of my values is time. I'm neurodivergent. I'm either on or I'm not. I'm either in or I'm out. There isn't very much grey area in terms of my energy. It's hyper focus, or it's, I'm down for the count for a couple of days. So I want to know, like, what's the time commitment involved? How often am I going to be required to do stuff? And not only that, but this was one of the other things. In the past, one of the other opportunities that I accepted, I just thought I was going to be like doing monthly contributions, right? I just thought I was going to be putting my content together and sending it through. But they wanted me to meet with them regularly. They were, the meetings were miles away. Well, not miles away. It was like an hour away, one way. And then it's an hour back and an hour talking. And that was hard for me for a number of reasons. It was difficult because it took me away from my own business and income generating activities for a half day a month, which when you work for yourself and you don't have anybody in your life to fall back on financially, like all the financial commitment and responsibility and obligations on your shoulders, that's a big ask, especially when a lot of these opportunities that come your way just aren't paid. So it was a big ask, and but I did it. But yeah, all the time when I was driving home, I was kicking myself for doing it. But I kept it up because I believed it was helping my business and my clients. So there was that. The other thing is, I really don't like having to be in places at certain times. I don't like being locked in. I don't like having that appointment at, knowing it's sitting in my Google Calendar for 3:30 on a Friday afternoon. That does my head in, and I can't concentrate for like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday until that meeting has happened. Like, I'm down for the count. I don't like that at all. And then I think, what was I going to say? Oh, something else about the time. Yeah. What is the time investment? Oh, yeah. And also going and having these meetings, I don't like being in groups. I don't. Like, I can do a group of maybe 3 people max. I don't want to be in a group setting in person with any more than that, because I get so anxious. I hate it. I would just rather go to the dentist and have a wisdom tooth pulled without anesthetic than, joking, not joking. Like, yeah, this is what it's like for me. So I want to avoid that at all costs. Yeah. The other thing, as I just touched on a moment ago, is when you're doing guest contributions, most of the time you don't get paid. It's the payment, if you like, is the reach or the visibility. And this was something else that I understood and I accepted and I was okay with in the past. But I never asked, what's the distribution? What's the reach? What are the demographics of your audience? And I never looked at, well, what's my reach? What's my visibility? Who's my audience? Like, I never, do you see? And so who knows? Who knows? This work that I was doing, this work that I was putting out there might have been really helpful to other people, but they were never going to be a client, right? Okay, so helping for the sake of helping, not expecting anything back. That's probably the mindset to go into it with. Anyway, the other thing too is it's not always just about us. I think it's also helpful to consider, why me? So bear with me. Step now into the mindset of the person that's offering you the opportunity. Okay, there are lots of people that they could have offered the opportunity to, and maybe have offered the opportunity to. Perfectly okay. But why you? It's going to be because you've got something they want. That's value. Okay. So what is it that I have got that this magazine wants, right? I'm not sure. This is something that I need to find out. I think usually it's going to be things like, maybe you've got an audience, maybe you've got a reputation that they want to leverage, maybe you've got an audience that they want to leverage and get, their publication in front of to grow their audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, you will have value. If you've been given an opportunity, it's because you're bringing something to the table potentially, and you need to know what that is, okay? You need to understand your value. You need to find out, like, why you've been getting picked. Very important. The other thing is, you want to look at whoever's giving you the opportunity and ask yourself about maybe their reputation. Like, are they known? What are they known for? What's the general gist? What do people generally think? Like, everybody's got an opinion of stuff, right? I mean, it could be, let's say it's, a well-known magazine like Clio or Cosmopolitan, and they give you an opportunity and they say, hey, we really want a practitioner to do monthly columns in our magazine on mindfulness, right? Is that something that you align with? Do you align with the values of that magazine? And, is it going to work for your audience? Like, how are your current clients going to feel about you now being a regular columnist for that, right? Or what about if it's, you get approached by something like Take 5 magazine or That's Life magazine, a bit tabloidy, and you get very excited because they're going to pay you, $30 a contribution, and you're going to be the agony aunt, and it feels very good for you to do that. What's that going to what's the impact of that going to potentially be on your business reputation? How will your current clients feel about you now being the columnist for a tabloid publication? Do you see what I mean? So you have to think about, like, what's the reputation of the person that you're essentially getting into bed with here. What else? The other thing too is think about, like, what's their purpose and what's their mission. So if they're offering you an opportunity, great, but dive deeper, go and have a look at the annual report and find, like, if they're public listed and all of that, and you've got access to it, of course. If not, a quick Google should bring up their website, and you can head over to the About section. You should see it. But go and have a little bit of a look there and just see what their mission and their values are and see how you react to that. Is that something that makes your heart leap for joy? Is it something that you're pretty neutral with? Or is it something like you're like, actually, no, this isn't for me? Like, for me, if the invitation was to work with a business that was heavily into the woke culture, like, I know that's not for me, and I'm going to bow out gracefully and, say thank you very much and not burn any bridges, hopefully, and, things like that. So yes, there's that. The other thing too is you want to, I guess, think about how you showing up is going to benefit their audience, and what can you legitimately, credibly, ethically, help them with. You're there to contribute, right? People are going to this publication because they're wanting something, right? It's like, how you go into your inbox and you've got, I don't know, maybe 100 emails in there this morning, none of which are open. You're going to have a little bit of a quick scroll, and there's going to be a lot that you've never heard from, and you're just going to delete, but you're scanning to see the familiar names, and you will give some of those a bit of a click. There's a reason why you click on those ones. It's because you're interested, you want to stay up to date, you need to know what's happening, what's new, all of the things, right? So you will click on some of those. Well, that's the same with a magazine, right? People buy it for the information. So think about, like, considering, like in this case here that I'm talking about, it's probably not going to be so niche specific. It's going to be more approach, philosophy specific, right? So that it applies to a broader audience. So now I have to think, okay, in terms of what I believe to be true around everybody's capable of running a business when they start to see themselves as business owners, in addition to being good practitioners. Do you see? So yeah, they're the things that I want to have more information about before I say yes or take this any further. So my next step is going to be, I will respond, I will organise a meeting online because I don't want to get out of the house. But I will organise a meeting and I will just ask the questions, things that I've just shared here with you, and if anything else comes to mind, I will. But also, I guess what I want you to take away from this as well is whether or not you accept an opportunity is always up to you. I'm just sharing the lessons that I've experienced as a result of jumping on opportunities in the beginning. And I'm appreciative for them. I'm thankful for them, all those kinds of things, absolutely. However, I also probably would do things differently if I had my time over. And that's the growth, right? That's the lessons. And so that's where I'm sitting now. And I wanted you to hear it. I think if you're at the start of private practice and you have an opportunity like this, I think it's just as important to, have these considerations under your hat before you say yes to anything too. especially because you don't want to be doing things that conflict with your values, that gobble up your time if you're somebody who's very precious about her time like I am. If it's going to be a big investment, if it's, is it paid, is it not paid, or what are you going to get? Because this is the other thing. Some of the things that I was involved in, it was a lot of me doing the giving, and I didn't feel like there was much in return. And that was a reflection on me and my naivety. It was in no way whatsoever a reflection on the opportunities that I had and the lovely organisations and businesses that gave me those opportunities. That was all on me. Again, I just didn't know any better. Do I recommend doing things like this? Absolutely. I really do. I think it can really be a fantastic way to build your business if you understand what you're getting yourself into and it all matches up. I mean, if this opportunity here, if they say to me, look, it's unpaid, got a small audience, probably not your target market, the reason that we wanted you is because you've got a PhD, like I'm saying no, okay? Anywho, that's the thing. It can really, really help with your visibility. But again, we want to make sure that it's getting seen by the right people. Marketing is such a complex thing. It's more than throwing up a Facebook post or an Instagram post. And that's why, there's a marketing system that the girls learn in Practice Momentum. It's a 4-step marketing system. And once they understand it and they install it into their business, by and large, not entirely, because I don't believe anything is ever entirely hands-off, as you know, like even passive income. You've heard me a million times say it's not passive, it's passive-ish. It's passive-ish income. Nothing's going to be entirely hands-off ever, but it's for the most part hands-off. But around your marketing system, you also need some, business systems that are going to support it, right? And so that's what they move through inside Practice Momentum. And it's as a result of having the marketing over here being supported and surrounded by very efficient, robust, sustainable business systems. They get to work with more clients and do more of the things that are important to them and that really, really matter to them. And I love it so much. If you're in private practice and you're starting it or you're growing it and you want some help, go and have a look at the website. It's just brooklynstorm.com. Click over to Practice Momentum and you'll see some information there. If you're already in an established business though, and you're wanting to do something like maybe go from maybe you're done with seeing 40 clients a week one-to-one and you're just getting exhausted now and tired now and burnout's on the horizon and all the things, and you're at a position of scaling, meaning we're going to reduce your one-to-ones maybe to about half time or something, so you can still do your one-to-ones, but replace the income from the other 20 with something else. And that's usually going to be a one-to-many model. If that's more your stage, you're in scaling. So business happens in 3 stages. It's starting, then growing. So starting is getting it all set up, etc., putting everything in place, getting your foundations going, all of that. Once all that's happening, then it's growing, and that's doing things like building your audience so that then when you go to sell your therapy sessions or sell your programs or your courses or your memberships or your digital products or whatever, your retreats, your VIP days, your intensives, you've got people there that will buy them. That's called the growth stage. And then once that's all where it needs to be and you've consistently been hitting your revenue goals and your income goals and stuff like that, then you might do that for a period of time. Usually that's like the bulk of many women's careers is spent in the growth stage. That's where everything's kind of stabilizing. But at some point you might want to scale. And scaling isn't only about going to a one-to-many model. Scaling can look like hiring team members, subcontractors. It can look like licensing and franchising your business. It can look like, getting your business going from you being a sole trader to you now having some satellite offices around the country where other people are doing the work under your business brand and you're collecting revenue for that. Of course, you're also involved, but it's less of the hands-on practical client work and it's more of the business development work and the business management side of things. So there's a little bit of a shift there and you get your time back and stuff like that. So it's just like the scale stage is different modeling, okay? And that comes after startup and grow. But anyway, if you're in the scale stage and you want help with that, Ascend might be a better option for you. Practice Momentum Ascend. So yeah, if that's something that you would like some more information about, feel free to, tap me on the shoulder on Facebook. It's just Brooklyn Storm, or you can send me an email, support@brooklynstorm.com. I'll be more than happy to send you some information, answer any questions and things like that. So yeah, the intake for the next cohort of Practice Momentum is happening now. We start on the 1st of March. So there's still time for you to apply. Again, to do that, you just go and visit the website. The process is have a look at the information there. If it sounds and feels like something that you're interested in that could help you, go ahead and apply. After you apply, you will be notified within 2 working days of the progress of your application. And that's usually something like either you progress to interview with me for the program, or if you're not quite ready yet for the program or the program's not quite ready yet for you, I will provide you with, recommendations and point you in the direction of some other things that might help close that gap for you. If you do go to interview, we'll have the interview. You'll get some information on how to prepare for that, what to prepare, what to bring along, all those kinds of things. After the interview, sometimes it's even been on the call, but usually within 48 hours of the interview, you'll be notified about, the outcome of your application. The places for it are limited, and the reason for that is because it is an on-demand program that is all about high-touch support. So while there might be a limited number of people, it means that for me, being the business coach, I'm having contact from lots of people every single day. So it can be intensive for me. And, also the way that I work, I like to create personalized resources for my clients, all of those kinds of things. So, I have a capacity. I have to be mindful of my own energy. So yeah, it's generally as people finish and a place becomes available, then the next person on the Practice Momentum waiting list, gets offered the place, because we've already done all the, checks and balances. Done the due diligence, they're on the wait list, they're ready to go. So then I can just say to them, okay, a place is becoming available next week, or a place became available yesterday, and we can get that person started. So that's what it looks like from my side, and I hope that was helpful to hear for anybody who may have needed to hear it. But speaking of Practice Momentum, I have to get going because it's 9:30 and I have a lovely client at 9:45. And yeah, after that, I'm in the car going to look at another property. So yeah, quick heads up. I was looking at properties on Saturday, and yeah, I'm off looking at another one today. It's in the opposite direction to Clunes. Still country town, still heritage. The place that I'm looking at is a miner's cottage. It is over 100 years old. I am so smitten with the photos online. But as I've said to you before, I'm beginning to find that, looking for real estate online is very much like using a dating app. There's lots of There's lots of photos that might not be so current where people are, putting themselves in their best light, and then you get there and it's not quite what you expect. So going there with a hopeful but an open mind. I'm very thankful because today the weather is only going to be 23 or 24. We've had a bit of a heat wave here the last couple of days and we're in for another one. One of the places I was going to look at in the country on Saturday, I'm not going to bother with because it's going to be 34 degrees on Saturday. I just can't. I can't. Okay, my lovelies. Hope this was super helpful. And if there's anything you need, of course, as I said, tap me on the shoulder on Facebook. I'm easiest to catch there. I only check my emails once a day. It's boundaries. All right. Have a great day. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorm.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.